Hello, welcome to another video of Open Great League. We're going to take a look at the battles from one of the best battlers in the world. It is my good friend Pranav from the Stadium Elite faction, and he will be playing these battles in the Open Great League faction format. It's his team, Stadium Elite, versus the other team, Cool Cats, which is also a really good faction. Now, before we start, Pranav also streams on Twitch, so I'll drop his link in the description. Definitely give him a follow. He's a really good battler, and he was featured in a video here before. He also invented the Skuntank Swampert Trevenant line, which was very popular for a while. Now, the meta, I'm just gonna go through this real quick. I already did this in the previous video of Open Great League faction as well. The Pokemon under the Gold Crown, you can only pick one of those for your line of 6. The Pokemon under the Silver Crown, you can only pick 2 of those for your line of 6. Now this is a little bit outdated because Nidoqueen is only 1 point now. Pidgeot is 1 point now as well. Noctowl is 2 points now. Pelipper is 1 point. There's a little bit with the Poison Fang nerf and the Wing Attack buff. A little bit of a shake-up in there. But we're going to take a look at the teams here of Pranav versus DFH. DFH is one of the best GBL players in the world. He's been, I think, like on top of the leaderboard pretty much every season. At least until at least from season 7 or 6 or so. The Japanese have a better website to keep track of that as well. But let's see how he does in show 6, pick 3 versus one of the best, one of the other best players in the world, who's also been on top of leaderboards quite some often. Looks like Pranav went with Medicham for his 2-point restricted pick, and Umbreon and Lantern as his 1-point restricted pick. It is no surprise we see Skuntank from Pranav. He really likes that thing. And Frostlass also a 0-point pick, which is crazy. It's going to be on every team in Open Great League factions. DFH, on the other hand, went with the Galarian Stunfisk, such a party pooper. I mean, I like to use it as well. It's the best party pooper in Open Great League. And he has Pidgeot and Lantern as well. Pidgeot really became more obnoxious with that Wing Attack, generating faster energy and getting to that Feather Dance earlier, so it becomes more difficult to threaten it. On top of that, he also has Frostlass, obviously, and a Shadow Dragonair and a Buzzwole. Two very cool picks. I wish I had a Shadow Dragonair. It even had, with shields up, it even has decent play against something like an Azumarill. Let's take a look at how these battles go. Game 1, Pranav versus DFH. He leads the Frostlass into the Buzzwole. This is a very good lead for Pranav. Now, win 2 shields, I think Buzzwole can get close depending on the movesets, but it doesn't matter. DFH swaps out and baits out the Medicham with this Galarian Stunfisk. Now, not really sure what you can bait out here with the Galarian Stunfisk. In fact, DFH runs a bit of ABA style here, right? Leading weak to Medicham and weak to Medicham in the back. But Buzzwole does okay-ish, I guess. You would still have to shield Psychic though. But the good thing about Galarian Stunfisk here is that Medicham always has to throw 2 Ice Punches if it doesn't want to shield here. And those 2 Ice Punches do go through. DFH lets that go, and this Medicham can almost build to a Psychic. Let's see if it lets it happen. But looks like DFH counting very well CMPs with the Buzzwole on that Psychic. And that will take out. So now he reveals one move. If it was like Power Punch, Superpower, which would be crazy, this is actually winnable for Buzzwole if Pranav shields the wrong moves. But Buzzwole doesn't even throw a move yet. Instead, waits for Frostlass to throw a move and then throws his move. Let's see how much this is going to do. This is a Superpower. I reckon it will do about 35, and it does about that. And in the back is the Frostlass. DFH is a shield down. There's not much play that DFH has here. We also see that Psychic on the Umbreon here, which is very smart by Pranav because he doesn't need Last Resort for anything on DFH. Team. In fact, Last Resort and Psychic are like the same move. They both deal the same damage in neutral situations. Pranav going for the timing here instead of throwing the foul play just right away. I mean, he would still survive. Umbreon is quite solid here, dealing super effective damage while also taking 2 Avalanche. But looks like he is too much into timing here. Or maybe he's just going for that Snarl down. That also makes sense. Finally decides to use Shield here and just Snarls down. this Pokemon, this Frostlass, and then throws a Psychic. Now, Buzzwole has very little to do at this point. If it can get to like a lunge and a superpower, maybe it can... Oh, actually, 2 superpowers will actually do it. But looks like Frostlass already is at that Avalanche here, and that will win Pranav game number 1. So a little bit easy for Pranav. Like, all he had to do was align here, right? It really came down to DFH managing his energy perfectly, and even then it was very difficult to manage. I think you have play if you can bait like a Power Punch and then land superpowers, but man, running Power Punch superpower would be crazy against an opposing meta champ. That's definitely looking very good for Pranav, right? Only really fears that Frostlass and even has some play against Pidgeot. We're going into game 2. It's 1-0 for Pranav at this point. Let's see what DFH can do here. We lead the Medicham into that Buzzwole. This is a decent lead for Medicham just because you are bulk here and you have a super effective move to threaten the Buzzwole. It will definitely one-shot. It looks like DFH is staying in. He might have that Galarian Stunfisk in the back again. If this is the same team, then it's not looking as easy for Pranav, but at least he has 2 decent Frostless answers in the back. In comes the first Psychic, not taking any chances with DFH calling a bait. But DFH does shield that move, and this matchup becomes a little bit iffy now, because Buzzwole does pay slightly faster to its charge moves compared to that Psychic from Medicham. Looks like Pranav is farming up more energy here, then goes for that Psychic here right before the superpower from Buzzwole. That will definitely take up Medicham at this point. And DFH actually double shooting. Definitely must have the Galarian Stunfisk in the back, I think. And then DFH counting very well, throwing on the CMP just right here. And it is a lunge, not the superpower. And now I don't think DFH can get 2 moves here, letting himself get a little bit lower and then deciding to throw a move. If you want to get more damage, you throw superpower. If you want to debuff, you throw lunge. And he does throw a lunge. He's probably not very good against the Lantern in the back. And as you can see, he brings in Frostless against the Water Gun Lantern. This definitely indicates that there has to be... what's it called? The Galarian Stunfisk in the back. This Lantern is also debuffed, so these moves don't do as much as you'd hope for. But it's still fine because Lantern has so much energy here. I think a Surf would almost knock it out here, but Pranav is not taking any chance to get hit by an Avalanche, so he throws Thunderbolt that will take it out. And at this point, he will get to that Surf to weaken this Galarian Stunfisk and then go to Umbreon. A slightly more optimal play could have been to keep the Surf because you win CMP with Lantern over Galarian Stunfisk. But this still works out. That debuffed Surf with the Water Guns already brought Galarian Stunfisk almost in half. And Umbreon can take 2 Earthquakes quite comfortably. It's like one of the bulkiest Pokemon in Open Great League, save for Chansey and Bastion. So yeah, foul play coming in, and the next foul play with a couple Snarls should do the job. Very well played by Pranav, very good alignment as well. The Buzzwole is just not really working out for DFH so far. He's really trying to catch that Umbreon from Pranav, really hoping, praying that Pranav brings it, because it is good, right? It has play against everything but the Buzzwole. From DFH. So I'm guessing that's why DFH runs it. But because he runs Buzzwole Frostlass core, it becomes RPS on DFH side. And that's what I don't really like about this. Because it becomes Frostlass and Buzzwole versus Medicham and Lantern. And I think that can get a little bit well, difficult to overcome. If you're on the wrong, if you don't have the right lead there, you probably lose the game. Let's see. Game number 3. Let's see if DFH can get a point here. It is the Umbreon versus that Wing Attack Pidgeot. And that is actually Legacy nowadays. I hope so, actually, because I elite TM mine. And now the foul play comes in on this Pidgeot. I'm very surprised that DFH doesn't throw before the Umbreon. Maybe because he's going straight Braybird here. And he actually is. That might indicate there's no Frostlass in the back. Because you probably don't want to swap out of this matchup if you have Frostlass in the back as DFH. Foul play comes in on a Lantern. It can take the move quite comfortably. And with that foul play, this Spark Lantern is very, very fine here for the Medicham. You can build up some momentum here, some energy with that Metachan. Metachan wins CMP against Lantern, and this is a very good CMP by Pranav because this allows him to get maximum energy to get to Ice Punch against that Pidgeot. He might even get to another Ice Punch, to be honest, if this Pidgeot tries to farm down. Let's see. But I think you probably want to throw a Feather Dance at some point instead of going 2 sheets down. He's 1 counter off, and he actually gets there. DFH trying to farm down completely, and Pranav gets to this Ice Punch that will definitely KO. Looks like DFH decides to shoot that. So one thing that kind of sucks about Pidgeot, the normal typing doesn't make you as good against the fighters as you'd want it to be. DFH baiting the Feather Dance here, it does not get shooted by Pranav and then goes into that Dragonair, but DFH is 2 shields down. Probably game over. Looks like he did give up on that Frost's Buzzwole Core though, but it didn't really work out for him. Pranav even letting that Aqua Tail go. A little bit disrespectful there, Pranav. That wasn't necessary. But he survives anyway. And then is able to farm out this Pidgeot. A 2 shield flags. That was not necessary, Pranav. That was not necessary, you bully. Anyway, that's a very convincing 3-0 from Pranav there. In the end, Stadium Elite beat Cool Cats. An absolute top tier. Both absolute top tier Emerald factions. They beat them by 17 for a very convincing win. So thank you, Pranav, for featuring these battles, and good luck in your next faction bouts. Thank you for watching, and hope you liked the video. Have a good one.